Let's work. Yo, it's go time, showtime, never backing down time. One shot, yo, make it count, yo. Crunch time, shine time, make this moment my time. Get a grip, yo, ready, set, go. We bring the thunder. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's go. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's go. Yeah, it's my time, your time. Step into the spotlight. Get lit, yo. Let yourself go. Our time, high time. Gotta go big time. This is it, yo. Never take no fight time. Grind time. Take it to the street time. Turn the roof off. Get loco. Game time, win time. We gon' bring it home time. No regrets now. Let it all go. We bring the thunder. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder.
Good evening and welcome to Mountain Bears. I'm Aeson Knight, and of course with me sitting in the cubby seat tonight is the techie with the mostest, Techy Darrow. How are you, darlings?
Doing pretty well. How about you?
Oh, doing well. Had a lovely day. Lovely. It's been a really fun day. Hello, Shannon. Hello, Brenda. How are you? Let's make this a great night. We're going to have some fun. I actually felt the Am I the Asshole this week. But first, we need to talk about this Amy Coney Barrett, who's turning out to be a little bit of a surprise. She isn't bowing to the Republican right.
I know. Weird, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did anyone see that coming? No one saw that coming.
Well, we're still watching her because I think she plays to what she thinks is going to be the winning party.
Yeah. But yeah, no, she did again reject bid to block Biden's student debt relief.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, for the second time, rejected an emergency request to block President Joe Biden's student debt relief, even as legal uncertainty from other cases hangs over the program's days before the midterm elections. Barrett on Friday turned down a bid to stop the program by two Indiana borrowers who claimed they were in line for Biden's debt relief, but would be left worse off because of the state tax consequences.
Right, which is bullshit.
Well, that may not be bullshit exactly. I mean, it's bullshit. Like, you know, you have the option to not request it.
Right.
I think what they're concerned about is because there's a potential. Because we used to see this with debt settlement.
Mm-hmm.
Is that if it's over a certain amount, you have to issue, I think it's a 1099K or no,
right.
1099K. Anyway, whatever it is, it basically says you received, it's a very weird, you received an economic benefit not in money.
Right.
Because the debt was substantially reduced.
Right.
And then, yes, that has tax consequences potentially. As in...
Okay, the most that most of these richers can get, and this is California. You notice we're not getting these suits out of California.
Mm-hmm.
It's $40,000 in debt relief. That's if you get the maximum.
Oh, really? We got it up to 40,000?
Yeah, $40,000. That's if you get the maximum on the Pell Grant.
Holy crap.
Okay, that means if you are in California, you're going to have to pay $2,991 for the $40,000 tax relief.
Yeah. Well, now that may cause a problem for some people because that's a pretty big tax bill.
Out of $40,000, I'll pay that little 13%.
No, I get that. I'm saying, but for some very economically disadvantaged borrowers,
right,
or borrowers that are sitting on a precarious line, that may be a substantial increase to their tax burden. But again, for the borrowers that qualify,
right,
I don't think it would create that much of an issue because you're going to be taxed at the effective rate.
Right.
And yes, it's a huge economic boon
to
you, but it should be like adjusted.
Right.
So, like, it shouldn't be like a situation where you're making $24,000 a year, you get this giant windfall
Right.
of economic benefit, and then your taxes become this, like, well, now I'm going to prison.
Well, that's
Like,
just
that
it.
would
It's
be
not now I'm going to prison. Now you've got to do a little bit of payment. Well, gee,
Mhm.
you're getting this time. It's probably not going to hit to mid. Okay. Let's just say, let's play this out. You have 18 months to pay your taxes. You're already making a $400 a month payment to your student loan.
Mhm.
You drop that into your tax bill. Gee, you've already paid that off before you could blink an eye in 3 months.
Well, true, true. If you've been paying all along, or if you are, at that, you are paying,
Right.
then yes, the if you add up the individual payments for basically what you would have spent for a year,
Right.
you cover the tax liability.
Right.
Again, I'm saying that there might potentially
Mm-hmm.
be an argument there, but I think it's one of those of, well, then just don't apply for it.
Right.
Like, if you're so worried about the tax consequence,
Mm-hmm.
then just don't apply for the debt relief.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? But it's almost like shoot yourself in the head. Why don't you? Not in a, I'm telling people to go
Right.
do that. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's just one of those, like, cut off your nose, spite your face kind of moments of, like, well, it seems like the wrong thing to be worried about. Like, if you're
Right.
potentially going to throw away a $40,000 write-off, like, and that's if you max out across the board, max out,
Right.
the
Right.
amount of debt relief,
Right.
then you're going to refuse that
Right.
because the tax consequence. Because some of us, some borrowers have been, paying for decades
Mm-hmm.
and maybe owe a couple thousand less than where they started.
Right.
Because that's often the net problem with this is there's no way to discharge the debt. You're, kind of stuck there.
Right.
Other than to pay in full. Hey, Cassie.
Hi,
Um,
Cassie.
so yeah, I think they've got, like, an arbitrary argument.
Well, the
Like, if you
only
want to
thing
be
they
really
have
capricious.
on the arbitrarily argument is bullshit.
Mhm.
Sorry, guys, it's what it is. It's bullshit.
Oh no. I think overall it's a bullshit argument. Yes.
Yeah. And it's real easy. Your governors have the same power.
Yeah. That it would be a very good idea for states to really counter this. And granted, there may be a potential concern
Mm-hmm.
that with the state of our union,
Mm-hmm.
that Republican governors want to, and Republican legislatures
Mm-hmm.
might want to make this a like, here's your economic windfall in the term of the Biden plan.
Right.
And then the state's going to turn around and go, oh, we're going to tax the fuck out of that.
Yeah.
In which case, yes, you really need to consider your elected leadership that's going to take the first bailout ever
Right.
of student borrowers in mass that is not
Mm-hmm.
related to education fraud.
Right.
Because this isn't what this is about. Like, this is, like, the educations were legitimate. The debt is ridiculous.
Right.
But the only other time you see this occur for borrowers
Mm-hmm.
is if the educational institution is found to be illegitimate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they lose their accreditation, they had no basis to charge you that amount, your degree is practically worthless, or would have been if you got it.
Right.
Because there are schools that lose that this happens for when your degree program is garbage.
Right.
Like, and there was no way you were ever going to get the degree, or even if you got the degree, it was going to be worthless to have the degree, or schools that fuck around and go, oh yeah, you can totally get this degree taking, like one class a semester.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you're stuck in this perpetual loop
Mm-hmm.
of like taking classes. Oh, those credits aren't valid anymore. Taking classes. And fundamentally, the only way you can actually do the program is if you commit to being a full-time student.
Right. Well, see, and the other part of this, and the bigger part of this, is a real debate in general on why. How do I want to say this nicely?
Okay.
On why we, as a developed country, have not caught up with the rest of the developed countries, and we entrap and enslave our people to our government.
Basically. There's a lot of problems with our education system and the way we pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's many people that can argue against that and not have their argument blown to shreds.
Right.
And I say that solely because, like, one, you have no way out of it. Like, it is a non-dischargeable debt.
Right.
Like, you go in for the education, you can't otherwise get rid of it. You can't discharge it in bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
Your credit card company's got wise. That used to be
Mm-hmm.
an old trick, is you would get a cash advance on a credit card,
Mm-hmm.
pay off your student loan,
Mm-hmm.
then default the credit card.
Right.
And then wait, file Chapter 7 or Chapter
Mm-hmm.
11, whatever, file bankruptcy.
Right.
And then literally walk out with a reset. Like, your credit is effectively at that point, because I know someone who has done similar things, not that one exactly, but he always described it as it's the best worst your credit will ever be.
Right.
Like, your credit score is bombed, but you can still walk out of that bankruptcy hearing and go buy a brand new car because they know you can't file bankruptcy for 7 years, so you're going to have to pay off the car.
Right.
Like, it's the weirdest moment.
Well, not only that, but it's that moment where it's like pulling it together and trying to figure out how to make it fair, and that's the key thing. But what I find interesting, and all the stuff that I've seen, is I keep finding it interesting. The argument, it isn't fair. Really, is it fair that I'm paying on a debt for a loan that is to a school that is no longer a career for me?
Well, and I think that's a very big part of this, is the nature of education changed.
Mm-hmm.
And the degrees that we are getting now,
Mm-hmm.
one, employment changed, first of all.
Right.
Like, can we talk about that for a hot damn minute?
Right.
Right about the time we were born,
Mm-hmm.
pension plans started to die.
Right.
Companies that expected you or the average worker to come into a company at age 18 to 25,
Mm-hmm.
be there for 30, 40, 50, 60 years,
Right.
and then take your retirement and drop dead. Thank you very much. Have a great day. But here's your pension and your insurance and your benefits and your other, that evaporated. Right. That got replaced with 401k plans, Roth IRAs, retirement savings accounts, you name it. Absolving companies of a long-term commitment. Like, you had to, like, the best they were doing was matching your contribution.
Right. If at all.
If they did that. And then you're still having to watch out. And hi, if anyone's watching this and you're young and you don't understand employment benefits and like retirement accounts and all this, the biggest things I can tell you are you can roll over an IRA. If you leave your employer, roll over your IRA. 2 is save harbor. Do not contribute to a 401k program that says nothing about the word safe harbor.
Right.
Safe harbor means both of you put money in. If it's safe harbor, you can't pull it out.
Right. The other thing I want to tell young people who may not understand this, when you get your first paycheck, take $25 and put it in a savings account, and do that for every paycheck. And you do that for, say, 52 weeks, and you do that for, say, 40 years, you will have $52,000. When it gets to $15,000, you invest it in something that you buy every day: Coca-Cola, Pepsi, paper towels.
Even here's the cool thing about employers today. If you can't do $25 because you have a crappy job and it didn't pay much and your bills are maxing you out, take $1.
Yep.
Find a way to get $1 out of every paycheck. Save it up till you have the minimum amount to open a bank account. Then, when you open that bank account, it's usually like $50, $100. Once you've opened that bank account, you take that routing and account number that they will give you, gladly, happily, and then go talk to your HR person.
Right.
Because 9 times out of 10, you can split where your checks deposit at. And you can literally tell them to put $1. They may have a minimum, but usually, like, they don't care. It's an automated process. They don't give a crap.
Right.
And they will deposit to 2 different accounts. And you can adjust that periodically to match your lifestyle.
Right.
Like, it's tiny savings.
Yeah.
But it's some
pocket change.
It starts as pocket change. Pocket change adds up.
Right. I mean, we have this little backpack. And every time there's change, every time I find change, every time I find change in the house, we throw it in there. And when it's full, it's going to get took over to the bank and it's going to go into my Cash App. And I'm going to buy some Coca-Cola. It may be 1% of Coca-Cola stock. And we're just going to keep doing that.
If 1%. Like,
if
it may
it
be a
doesn't matter.
fraction of a percent.
Doesn't matter. Procter & Gamble, whatever. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, I want a long-term blue collar stock that's been here since the 1800s. That's what I want.
Ye old companies that will not die.
Yes.
Like, Coke learned its lesson after New Coke. They haven't done anything stupid, really stupid since, except for, was it Coke or Pepsi did the all the water rights?
Coke did all the water rights.
Coke did all the water rights. But still, at the end of the day, you have to take and just do what your grandparents said. I call it the coffee jar method. Yeah.
Your grandparents done the coffee jar method.
Well, for some of our listeners, if they're very young, your great-grandparents or your great-great-grandparents, like, we're looking for those, like, war babies.
Well, not only that, but I want to talk about your grandma and grandpa. Grandma. They done what I call the coffee jar method. Now, they scrimped, they saved, they reused, they manufactured, they whatevered.
Oh, and they struggled. Let me tell you.
Struggled.
Like, there was struggle there because, like, let me tell you, like, my grandparents were born in the 19-teens. Okay. Like, they grew up between 2 wars, World War I and World War II. They were too young to be in World War I. They were too old to, my grandfather was, to serve in World War II. Like, there was no hope of being drafted. Like, they were babies for one, and they were too old for the other. So, but those were some turbulent years. Like, to think about, like, 1936 getting married. And trying to, like, as she put it, go to housekeeping.
Right.
As in, you got married, you move in together, you do whatever you got to do. And then to turn right around and like 2 years later have a baby.
Right.
And so we're talking like the end of the 1930s. All right. Then you immediately roll into the 1940s and the shit show disaster.
Right.
That was.
Right.
And good luck. Oh no. See, we were doing so well there for a hot minute.
Yeah,
all right,
we were.
Block user. Bye user.
Goodbye.
Yeah, so like
Yay, block user. They're coming in droves. Let's just keep blocking them.
All right, keep blocking them. I'll
I'll
keep talking.
keep blocking. You keep telling the story, but I want you to tell the story that gets me the most, and the one that always, no matter what the time is.
Oh, which one?
When you go to buy a car.
When I go to buy a car.
Your grandmother went to buy a car.
Oh, good Lord. So, okay, now you got to, like, I do have to tell a little bit of the story before I can flash that far forward. So, yeah, in there, you're talking about the Great Depression, you're talking about wartime, you're talking about banking fears, you're talking about, savings and loan failures. Like, they grew up as a generation scared to death of banking because some of them watched their parents lose everything. Some of them lost everything. And there was this fundamental fear of banking. And the idea that you're going to put every last dime you have into a bank. Most of them never got over it.
Right.
Like, I'll tell you now, like those kids born in the 19-teens never trusted banks again.
Right.
Ever. For any reason. They expected a bank to fold at any moment.
Right.
Because it happened, and people that were very well off were left penniless.
Right.
So they got very comfortable with the idea that you keep money in a mattress, you keep money in a shoebox, you keep money in a deep freeze, you keep money somewhere that is not a bank. And very frugal. Like they went so much without, because much like we're going through a shortage period, they got used to, you can't buy that. There's no amount of money that will buy that.
Right.
So you make do, you fix it, you repair it, you find someone who has half a clue how to fix it.
Right.
And you or you do without it.
Right.
So that kind of influenced them for the rest of their lives.
Right.
They were very hesitant to buy new things or buy a lot of new things all at once. They always kept their spending well under their income. Arguably, some of them to the point that they may have self-harmed.
Right.
At least in terms of like adequate nutrition, reasonable health care. Like, there's some downsides to this.
Right.
That you do have to be careful of. Like, there's a too far.
Right.
But it did mean that they ended up with a lot of liquidity.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't trust investment banking.
Right.
At best, they trusted savings and loan. They got that. And a lot of them bought cheap houses and sold them much, much later for a lot of money. And that's continuing today. Right. And then for their children, they also became in many ways equally uncomfortable around banking, around banks, finances, and banking. Had very similar distrusts, but oddly were more likely, because of their employers pushing towards those retirement plans,
right,
to actually end up investing heavily.
Right.
They just happened to get out in time.
Right.
But all of this comes to, they ended up with a lot of cash on hand.
Yeah.
So my grandmother, after my grandfather died, needed a new car, and it hadn't been long after he had passed. She had never been good with a checkbook. That just was not where her brain worked. That was not her strong suit. Woman can do many things. Balance a checkbook was a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And she was not a fan of owing anyone anything on an account.
Right.
One too many company stores from the coal mining camps. And the fact that her mother at one point ran a grocery store, and back in the days when it was, like a dry goods greengrocer kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or dry goods technically. And yes, there were accounts, and I think during the time period they lost the store because no one could pay.
Right.
That's my theory. I never heard that one for sure, but that's my theory based on time period, probably what happened.
Right.
So anyway, not a fan of anything on an account.
Right.
Like, she doesn't want a payment book. She hates payment books. She doesn't want to do this. So we go to buy this car. And we got up one Saturday morning. We took off. We go, and I'm 9. Like, I'm a little tiny, like, well, as little as I get. Tiny kid. Like, what do I know about anything?
Right.
And so she goes in to buy this car. She talked about the car. She talked to the salesperson. She's, ready to, like, okay, let's do this.
Right.
And so the salesperson, I'll never forget poor Gerald's name. Gerald, and if you're out there watching by any chance, we think the world of you, Gerald. But Gerald is sitting there, and he asks her how she intends to pay for the car. Do you have a check from the bank? Are you writing a check? What are we doing? Are we financing? Like, what are we doing? And she just kind of does this, well, give me a second. And so she opens her purse, and she starts pulling out bundles of money. And I don't mean like nice bank bundled money. I mean like, hi, we made a stack and put a rubber band about it.
Right.
Or, you know what I mean? And we're not even talking about, like, we're talking about like reused newspaper rubber bands. Like, not even like a fresh bag of rubber bands. Rubber bands around it. Hey, Alexandra. And this poor salesperson's eyes got huge. As she's like, I intend to pay in cash. And my grandmother pulls $16,000 in cash.
Right.
Out of her pocketbook. The salesperson freaked out so bad, he knows my father. And he called him. And I did not hear that conversation because obviously I was in between. But yeah, apparently he was so freaked out at the fact that my grandmother had gone in with a kid and a pocketbook with at least $16,000 in it, that he called my father and said, your mother just came in and bought a car, which was enough to make Dad anxious.
Right.
But confused, because like, why are you calling me about this? Like, my mother's a grown woman. I guess if she wants a new car, she can buy a new car. A little perturbed, but okay. And then he says, and she paid for it in cash. Dad again is kind of like, oh, she wrote a check? And he's like, no, sir. No, sir. She bought a car.
In cash.
So the story gets better because my grandmother and I decide to go off and the salesperson calls. She's already on the way to have Dad look at the car.
Right.
See if she's done screwed up. And Dad's already livid when we get there. The two of them get into it over the car because Dad makes a smart ass comment because, what do you care what I think about it? You already bought it.
Right.
Gerald's already called me. You paid cash, mother.
Right.
What were you thinking? So my grandmother does not like having her all of her decisions questioned at once.
Mm-hmm.
We took off for the rest of the evening.
Yep. And yes, we are taking questions tonight. Sorry, I've been dealing with trolls.
Yeah, it's been a troll moment.
All
It's
right.
been troll. But no, it was a fun and interesting evening. Like, to finish out the story, because there is a rest of it. Is we got back from, because we went on a drive.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, this is 1990. I should have prefaced, but this is 1990.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no cell phones. We took off in a brand new car, drove up to
Mm-hmm.
Moncove Lake while my grandmother tries to calm down.
Right.
She is furious.
Right.
And we didn't get home. Like, we went to the lake, we went here, we went there. Like, we stopped for ice cream. Like, it was a whole day.
Yeah.
And we finally got back late that night to her house where there was a message.
Mm-hmm.
I'd started to say something, well, and actually vocalized, but started to say something about the fact that I don't think that's the right license plate on the car.
Mm-hmm.
And the salesperson's like, no, that's the right license plate, like, I'm sure it's right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, fine. I guess I'm a stupid kid. Don't know nothing.
Yep.
And so anyway, the message on the machine, multiple, one message after another, was from Gerald, going, in increasing levels of panic.
Mm-hmm.
2 people bought a car that day at the same time.
Right.
They sent both vehicles back to be, have their plates moved over, take the plastic off the seats, the whole, new car, what they do. They swapped the license plates.
Mm-hmm.
Because much like I said, I don't think that's the right license plate for the car.
Mm-hmm.
This other couple very clearly said that isn't our license plate.
Right.
Our license plate is.
Mm-hmm.
So we had already drove off the lot with mismatched tags.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gone. This other couple couldn't leave with their car.
Uh-huh.
And they couldn't leave with their old car either.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have the license plate.
So poor Gerald. But no, the whole point there is the saving and buying and the realizing what you're actually paying in interest, and that you can actually pay smaller, pay payments to yourself, be your own bank. That's my point about that whole thing.
Oh, yeah, you can definitely be your own bank. It's very easy. Actually, the fastest, easiest way to do it is to put money in a CD.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Put money in a CD or a savings account.
Mm-hmm.
And you literally go into the bank, and it sounds so stupid. No one ever wants to do it. But you tell them you want to make out a loan agreement using the account as collateral.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what they do is they set it up like they're doing like a normal loan.
Mm-hmm.
But it's already basically pre-approved. You can set your own, terms, your own percentages, your own everything, because you're repaying yourself. Right. The worst thing that happens in this is not that your car gets repossessed, it's that you don't pay yourself back.
Right.
And so it wipes the money for the loan. You can also do this for other people, not recommended unless you
enjoy collecting.
Really.
But
really
trust. Not only that, but at the same time here, we get, a lot of people, and, I just want to make a comment here. When she was setting up housekeeping and raising a child, they could not replace the china, like your normal everyday dishes in her house.
So they're, of course, living in coal camp housing, and they have this one, she was so proud of herself, because my grandmother's 20 years old, if that, 21 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's got this little, cabinet, this cheap, ugly, stupid cabinet. I know what it looks like because it was in her garage.
Uh-huh.
This is how frugal they were. She bought this cabinet in 1936. Garbage, pure garbage, just thin little balsa wood kind of cabinet. And my father, like, because it was very unstable,
Mm-hmm.
little cabinet. My father, as a child, ran through the house,
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 years old, and ran into the cabinet and knocked it over, and it literally broke everything in it. Every cup, every saucer, every bowl, every, you name it, it got broken.
Right.
Like, they didn't have a lot to start with, but she lost everything.
Right. Victoria, you phrase your reading in a question. That's a clear question. And you include your birth date, just like the stroller says at the bottom. But anyway, so she could not afford to go out and get a new set of bolts, plates, and cups.
No.
Okay? When she decided to depart, she could have gone and bought anything she ever wanted in her life.
Theoretically, yes. Just about.
Yeah.
Like, but then again, my grandmother didn't really want for a lot.
Right.
Like, and that was a weird part about that generation is, like, they focused on needs. Do you need it? No. Like, does it contribute to your life? Is it for your survival? Is it whatever? No. Then you put that money in a bank and you save it.
Yes. And we're talking banks like the ones up on the shelf there.
That too. Yeah. Yeah. Fair amount of that. Yeah. Like, she, like, literally until she was 90. This woman got her Social Security check as a physical check. Like, her Social Security check, my grandfather's retirement check. The only check she had direct deposited was from her retirement, and that's because they wouldn't let her take a paper check.
Mm-hmm.
They discontinued it, said, we're not doing that anymore, so you better give us your routing and account number or we ain't paying you out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But the other two she received as a physical check. She went to the bank, she cashed them, and then did the deposits of whatever she thought she needed in her checking account to pay her bills.
Mm-hmm.
The gas, the water, the sewer, the cable, her cell phone. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Because she was cool. She was like 90 years old with a cell phone. It was kind of cool. She didn't have to know how to use it. Sort of like her email. She had a little web TV.
But
she
got
tried
to communicate with you.
Yeah, I went to college and she was all gung-ho for it.
Yep.
Like, well, again, that was back in the days of long distance being a thing that she had to think of, and the fact that you were paying per minute to talk to someone on a household landline phone. Oh, things I don't miss.
Yeah, and this kind of leads into the next story, but I got to take a commercial, and we'll be right back. But talking about the American dream, which I'm starting to think it's a nightmare. I really am.
It's become that way.
Hi, I'm Dottie the Psychic, and I'm sure you're wondering why I'm not wearing any makeup. Well, one reason is to irritate my social media manager, Aeson Knight. Hi, Aeson. The other reason is because I like to get to the naked truth about what it means to be a neurodivergent LGBT person with psychic abilities. I've got vlogs, blogs, and podcasts and videos all related to trying to live my best life and helping witches and bitches do the same thing. So, you can check all that out and get a reading from Dottie the Psychic at DOTTIEthepsychic.com. Safe travel and much profit to you.
Do you have a cute pet? We know you do. Each week, Tracy Van chooses from submitted photos a featured reader for her Facebook page and provides a tarot reading. Your adorable pet cat, dog, rabbit, goat, chicken, snake, or more could be her next featured reader. Visit TracyBann.com, TracyBann.com, and click Featured Reader to submit. We look forward to seeing your pet next.
Hey Hey everybody, Lady Gwendolyn here, and I am here to tell you how to get in contact with me and a little bit about what I do. I am the High Priestess that works with shadow work to help you grow and heal. And I work with access bars, Reiki, I do power forms. I'm recently getting into crystal healing, sound therapy as well. So you can go to Lady Gwendolyn Healing, that is LadyGwendolynHealing.com. Book your appointment with me. I do in person, I do over the phone, I do over Zoom. We can do that as well. My main goal is to help you grow and heal, because I've been there, I'm still going through it, and I let my strength help guide you. See you soon.
Hey everybody, Natalie here from The Pendulum's Path. If you are in need of guidance, direction, spiritual connection, healing, or more, you have come to the right place. I have worked as a psychic and a medium for over 3 years, connecting people from all over the world with their loved ones, giving them insight and guidance into their current situations, their past healings, their blockages, and what they need to know in order for them to have a better future. It would be my absolute honor if you would come to my website at www.thependulumspath.com. Visit my shop. I have a whole bunch of crystals, oils, balms, mystery boxes, and more. And visit my services. I offer 15-minute, 30-minute, and 60-minute sessions. I also have email readings available if you're not comfortable with the one-on-one session with me, or if you just want to try me out. I encourage you to come visit me at the Pendulum's Path, and let's get you back on the right track today.
All right.
All right. Yay, I can pin messages now. Cute. Yes, I love having the dual processing that I'm now able to do. All right, so again, we hear the American housing dream is broken.
Yeah, so what's this? The America's housing dream is broken. So a little over a decade ago, the dominant narrative about the housing market was that millennials simply weren't buying. They were either too cheap, lazy, or iterant to commit to something as weighty as a mortgage. Cut to 2020, and that narrative got flipped on its head. It wasn't that millennials didn't want homes in the suburbs, they just couldn't afford them. But when the pandemic hit and demand for property exploded, the furor was driven by people in their 30s, finally flush after years of slogging away at whatever jobs were left for them in the fallout of the Great Recession, and for many eager to flee to the wide open spaces of suburban life. It also didn't hurt that the dizzying stock surges meant baby boomer parents with large investment portfolios were happy to pass on some of those gains to their darling millennial kids. So as that 2020 housing boom begins to go bust, those who managed to close on a home in the crush of competition fed by rock bottom mortgage rates should count themselves extremely lucky.
All right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Victoria, we have answered that a couple of times, but I will go ahead and say it one more time. To receive a reading, please place your month, day, and year birthday in the comments with your specific question. General readings are not provided on the show due to the time that is required for them, but are available by scheduling an appointment. If you'd like to schedule an appointment, please go to www.aesonnight.com. All right. I just want to make sure you got it this time. Like, I don't ever want people to feel like we're ignoring them. So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But anyway, so I find it interesting, that, this is, the rate is, increased 75%, 50% over the past, couple of months. That's because it was really fucking low.
Yeah.
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 Okay. And then we look at how, and I, reviewed Zillow this morning and about went, do what? It might be time to sell this box.
But here's the problem, is you take that nice, pretty value that our home is at,
Mm-hmm.
and unless you're just going to take the money and run,
Mm-hmm.
It is going to basically be a down payment on another home. It's
Right.
not going to pay for another home. It's going to be a down payment
Right.
on another home. Because that's how out of whack this has gotten.
Well, depending
Is
on where
that-
I want to move to.
Well, depending upon where you want to move to, I mean, like that is a key point of this. But homes that just a few years ago may have been 86,000, and it's a nice neighborhood, it's a decent house, it's got a nice driveway, a little fenced-in backyard. That house now may be closing out sight unseen, same day as listed,
Mm-hmm.
for like 200,000.
Yeah, I know, but if I want to buy this Victorian home in PA for 16,000.
Oh, some countries are still reasonable, says Brenda.
Uh-huh. I can go to Pennsylvania and buy this Victorian home for 16,000. It has more than enough bedrooms, and we can put bathrooms wherever the hell we want. Uh, and just do a little chemical. It needs some flooring, some walls, a little bit of wiring, nothing major.
Hey, but the walls are already out, so the wiring should be easy. The only thing you gotta watch out for is, are you gonna get stuck with historical preservation? Because you said Victorian.
Exactly. Or, I don't know. Let's see.
Because that's a big problem with some houses, is that, like, people think the brightest thing they can do, and it does increase property value,
Right.
to have a house declared historic.
Right.
The problem is, when you do that, you're now locked in. You have to keep that house historically accurate. Like, you can
Right.
upgrade the plumbing and you can upgrade the wiring,
Mm-hmm.
but like, you can't be setting it up like it was, the year 2022.
Right.
You have to keep that house as original as possible with the same materials and construction that were used in its original construction. It is
Right.
a historic site.
Well, how does Los Pando Ponte Verde Jovar sound?
To what?
It's this beautiful home in Mexico.
Oh, well. Then you're just shooting all over the map. You want to live in Pennsylvania or Mexico, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter. There is enough, for the price that this house, for the property gain on this house currently. Because when I bought this house, we paid cash.
Mhm.
Flat out cash for the house.
Well, more likely a check, but
I don't know. The trust fund done it.
yeah.
It wasn't that big of a trust, people.
But it was cash. Like,
It was-
you didn't have to finance it. You had a bank balance to cover it. Just
Right.
write a check.
Right.
Yeah.
It's now tripled, I believe.
At least? What was the original?
17.5.
17.5? Yeah, I think you more than tripled. You
Yeah.
almost quadrupled in value.
Yeah.
Like, hello.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Brenda points out Fairmont has had quite a few unknown cause fires of buildings that were on the historic register that were waiting to tear down. How bizarre.
How bizarre.
How bizarre indeed.
Yes.
All
right, so Victoria has got her thing going on there.
She does. All right. So Victoria 10486 was wondering if there was anything coming through from my dad.
What does the card say?
See what the cards say.
Overall, what I'm getting with this is you're being a lot nitpicky. You're being very hard on yourself. You're also being very complicated on yourself. You need to relax more, take more time for yourself, and take more care, and you can get yourself into more balance.
All righty.
Okay. Moving on.
Okay.
So yeah, pay attention to your housing market. It might be time to check out Arizona. Like there was a nice hotel in Arizona for sale for only like 32,000.
Not bad. Like, and that is the other part of this is we're going to start seeing. I would think we're going to see a slowdown of new home sales. Values should decrease, except for those owners that got real hot on the new normal.
Uh-huh.
Because like they can sit here and tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, can we have a brief conversation about the fact that Zillow, not the most accurate resource, like they have screwed themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe Zillow has a price guaranteed. Like that's the amount they will buy your house for.
Yeah.
And Zillow's about screwed themselves doing that.
Mm-hmm.
They picked up a lot of property that fundamentally, like, they valued it at like X dollars,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's not sellable at that.
Right.
Like, that's a ridiculous number. Like,
right.
No one in the area is going to buy that.
Right.
So I mean, like, take Zillow as your top end.
Well, still, even if we sell this place for 54,
mm-hmm.
we can replace this place. We can move somewhere else if we wanted to buy a home, which I'm debating on whether I want to own a home or not.
Which some of you outside this area may be finding this number hysterical because, like, if you're in San Francisco, you're like 54 what? 54 Ethereum? Like, give me a number that makes sense because, like, housing prices in San Francisco are like towards the millions.
Well, depending on the house.
And we're not talking about 54 as in like 540,000.
Right.
Like we're talking 54,000, like cost of a, high-end SUV.
Right.
Like I think Cadillacs are still sitting there, aren't they? Or are they way shot
They're
up?
about 60.
Okay. So around a decent SUV.
Right. But no, we have jobs that are portable. I specifically do.
Mm-hmm. Mine's relocatable.
Yours is relocatable.
Yeah.
Literally, all I got to do is get pissed off bad enough and call a realtor.
Fair enough. But no, I mean...
Yeah, so, something interesting, a little reminder I got today.
Mm-hmm.
On November 4th, 2022, British archaeologist Harvard Carter was really ready to give up on his search for the ancient tomb of the Egyptian boy pharaoh, only to find it in a mountain that he was not really expecting it to be there. He was basically throwing rocks and heard him hit the wrong way. One of the richest tombs, and of course, everyone in that discovery died within 3 years.
Oh, wow.
But no, Tutankhamun has been retrieved over 100 years ago. Today, we're still not processed everything.
Mm-hmm. I just always think the photos are just so, like from the 1920s, because these are old glass plates, if I remember right.
Yes.
And like the quality though is just like it's a little wonky. It tells you it's a glass plate, basically.
Right.
But like there's the sharpness to it that like it's really hard to find in other photos.
Right.
Like there's a certain richness to it.
The UK would be a good moving option.
Oh, the UK would be.
Yeah. Apparently polyamory is everywhere. So when will the UK laws catch up? There's a new movement to get them moving along.
All right. So, yeah. Oh. All righty. No, this is pretty interesting. So the author of this, which is, well, this was published a month ago in the New Yorker. I don't see an author listed. But it says, I get asked a lot of questions about being polyamorous, how I allocate time, how I navigate conflicting relationship styles, how I get my any work done around the presumed bacchanalian nights of group sex and opium dens. Why does everyone go there? But to answer the most popular inquiry, yes, I do sometimes get a little jealous. None of my partners, I should clarify, or indeed any of their partners, all of whom are out here living their best lives, no doubt more concerned about how many jumpers they need to put on this winter to stay warm than finding someone else's in their laundry basket. What I envy instead are the legal protections and social recognition that is yet to be afforded to setups like mine, or many other domestic scenarios that don't resemble a 1950s family photograph. Those felt barely realistic back then and felt even more cruelly anarchistic today.
Mm-hmm. Nevertheless, to see polyamory or ethical non-monogamy as the new shiny relationship model is, for the most part, to view global history back to front. Monogamy is both relatively new and perhaps surprisingly unpopular way of life. Not only do less than 5% of millennial species,
well, mammal species on the planet,
practice it. And in those animals do pair for life, like swans, are rarely sexually exclusive to their chosen partner. But the monogamy practiced by humans generally involve multiple partners too. They just spread them out over time or sequence away from, secret affairs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because here's the thing. Most of y'all aren't monogamous. You think you are. But like if you have a series, like if you have serial monogamy, as in you're in a relationship, you leave that relationship, you enter a new relationship, it's monogamous, you leave the relationship, on down the line, is it really monogamy? Like that's the question we all have for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really monogamy? Like if you met your high school sweetheart, lost your virginity to them, and then you stay together for till the end of your life, then yes, that is monogamy.
Mm-hmm.
If that's not really what you're doing,
right?
If you're dating around, if you're going through a bunch of casual one-night stands on your way to the altar, that's not monogamy.
Right.
I'm not saying anything's wrong with it. I'm just saying it's a little hard to classify as monogamy.
Right.
If anything, it's kind of ethical non-monogamy, as long as everyone's aware that you are not looking like you're not in a relationship with them. It is not locked out that you are exclusive and not seeing other people.
Right. Well, and we're seeing, we've seen New York move on it. We've seen, and this so reminds me of the early 90s.
I know, right? Like everything
New York City moved on gay marriage, little cities in Massachusetts. Can we get Hawaii in on this?
I know, right?
Canada started to recognize it as a registry. Contract law is now getting to the point of this.
Mm-hmm.
The UK is normally the one that sets it. Now they're already getting a call. They already have an organization set up there politically, moving with it.
Oh, very nice.
And what scares me is a lot of people's first introduction to this is sister wives.
And we had this conversation earlier today, kind of unrelated to this exactly, but it is now.
Mm-hmm.
The problem of, like, is it polyamory or is it polygamy?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean the legal definition exactly of polygamy. Like you were getting really ticked off with this poly group that you're in.
Right.
And that it is like literally overrun, like it is predominantly heterosexual, which, okay, TBE, to be expected.
Right.
Because it's a wide open group.
Right.
But then on top of that,
they've now built in this new chat feature in Facebook, Meta, in MetaBook.
In MetaBook. But then the way the chat has gone, and everyone that's involved in it, in that chat, is basically doing what's called unicorn hunting, which is typically when like a couple is looking for a perfect other to join their relationship, and or it's effectively like it's one guy who wants nothing else to do with like another dude, or his partner to have anything else to do with another dude, but to have multiple female partners.
Right.
And may or may not be interested in those female partners like really doing anything more than sharing a house.
Right.
And being okay with the existence of each other. Which, that's where it's more like, that's the sister wife thing.
Right.
That's kind of the, like, that's more polygamy than polyamory.
Right.
Like, there's an equality that goes with the ethical non-monogamy to kind of really form the basic understanding of what poly can be.
Right.
Doesn't mean it works perfectly for everyone. That's exactly, like it should not be for every human that it has to be
right,
like this wide open thing. It can be
right,
more like the sister wives experience if that's what people want. But a lot of it is built around this idea that no, this is all it can be. This is all I'm allowing in our relationship. Like someone read more than two.
And it's like, can we just not? Can we just not?
Yeah, and you'll find most of them use the words like primary relationship, secondary relationship. That's hierarchical non-monogamy.
Yeah, done badly. Done badly.
It's always bad.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. One-on-one relationships don't always work perfectly. No, they don't.
One-on-one don't work perfectly. Poly doesn't work perfectly. Guess what? Oh, God, no. You know what works perfectly? None of it. You have to sit down and you have to negotiate out every finite detail.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that people often lynch onto is that, oh, well, every poly couple I know has blown up and poly never works. Okay, have you seen our divorce rate for monogamous couples?
Yeah.
That's not working either.
Well, that's far from working.
If that's the perspective you're going to take.
Well, and not only that, but, I'll be honest with you. You know what is the only thing that has decreased the divorce rate? Gay marriage. That is the only effect that has decreased the divorce rate in this country.
True. I think if you have to spend 40 years as just roommates, I think you have probably ironed out most of the things that would cause you to get divorced later.
Right.
Or you just age out, because that's a thing. That's the thing. Some couples just hit a point where they don't want to be married anymore. They just don't care to get divorced because it's too much work.
Exactly. So, all right, guys, let's take a break, and then we'll be heading into our favorite subjects. And we've got some interesting ones here.
We do?
We do.
Welcome back, Goblins! My name is Jason, and I am the host of the Esoteric Book Club, a podcast that examines titles on the magical, paranormal, the mysterious, and the strange. I release 2 episodes a month, in which I review books on esoteric topics, recap news of the weird, and conduct interviews with authors, practitioners, and experiencers. The Esoteric Book Club can be found on every major podcast service, or can be streamed directly from esotericbookclub.org.
Hi, I'm Tracy Van. I provide a blended reading consisting of mediumship, psychic, and tarot cards. A reading from me can cover any guidance you need from relationships with your partner or your family, spiritual, financial, any questions you may need clarity on. If you would like to book an appointment with me, check out my website, tracyvann.com. That's TracyVann.com. I have bookings from 15 to 60 minutes you may choose from. That helps if you just have a quick question, need an answer, or if you're looking for a reading in more depth, I'm here to provide the guidance and clarity for you. Let's just figure it out. Bye.
Hi, Techie Joe here. I work with Aeson Knight and some of the best psychics in West Virginia to create amazing live streams and podcasts for the Psychic Coffee Shop Network. Together, we brew up great content discussing news, events, hot topics, and more, all from a psychic perspective. On the Psychic Coffee Shop, we interview amazing authors in the metaphysical realm. Coffee and Tea combines Aeson with Tracy, Dottie, Natalie, or Lady Gwendolyn for the good and the bad of being a psychic. Shameless Self-Promotion with Dottie the Psychic talks to leading and emerging YouTubers and business owners in our community. Mountain Bears brings you the latest in LGBT news and politics. The Psychic That Plans answers the question of, well, how a psychic plans. Plus, we're live on air. We take your comments and your questions, including psychic advice questions. Check out our amazing programming, book an appointment with top psychics, and find out all the wonderful things we have to offer at PCSBnetwork.com today.
Hi, I'm Aeson Knight. I provide tarot readings covering everything from love and relationships to your life questions and your most spiritual answers. And also, I provide a lot of guidance in finances and divorces and all those relationship problems. So, if you'd like to get a reading from me privately, not on air, you can feel free to do so by visiting aesonnight.com and booking your appointment. I also provide on-demand services, so if your life is a little chaotic, you can go ahead and click that call now button there on my site, right for a quick answer question. All right, guys, back to the show. Enjoy.
All right.
Welcome back.
Yes.
All right, so to pull us up, remember that we are in all chat, not top chat. Apparently that's a new thing.
Oh.
All right, so state your case. Are you the asshole?
Am I the asshole for going off on my girlfriend for eating all the food? Last Saturday, we had friends come over for a game night. There were 17 people in our apartment. We bought $200 worth of hors d'oeuvres, such as egg rolls, small pastries with meat or cheese, and some chips. As the main dish, I asked my aunt to cook us her special macaroni in the oven, chicken wings, and nuggets. There was so much food, everyone left with a plate. Sunday, we ate out of the leftovers, but there was still enough food to eat for the rest of the week. There was a lot of food. She works from home and I from an office. Sunday night, she packed food in the fridge. I noticed Monday morning that there was less macaroni than what was left the previous day, meaning she ate during the night. I'm the type that doesn't like to eat heavy at lunch, otherwise it makes me sleepy, so I made sandwiches for lunch, thinking I'm going to eat some macaroni, wings, and pastries for supper. Monday, 7 p.m., when I go to the fridge, all the pastries and chicken wings are gone. At the same time, my sister came over to do my girlfriend's hair, and I asked, honey, did you pack the hors d'oeuvres somewhere else? I can't find them. She replied there were none left. I didn't want to make a scene in front of my sister, so I took a plate of macaroni. The next day, Tuesday, she made me a steak with veggies for lunch, and in the afternoon, I had a seminar with paid dinner, so I didn't eat any of the leftovers. Then comes Wednesday. I had sandwiches for lunch again, but when I got home, I was hungry, went to the fridge, and realized there was no food left. She ate everything. That mountain of food we had for a week is gone. That's when I snapped and told her she didn't leave me any. At first, she denied eating everything, but I told her we're only two here. I only ate a plate when my sister came on Monday. Then she said she thought I had taken my share. I told her clearly no. Then she replies there's no use being mad for food when we can just go and buy more. I'm just being petty. I told her it doesn't make any sense that you ate all this food in 3 days, that you didn't even notice that I didn't have any. It's easy to say that it's just food when you ate it all. Now she's mad at me, apparently, for yelling at her and being too old, I'm 36, to react like this. I'm 6'1" and 205, and she's 5'8" and 185. During the last 2 years, she gained at least 40 pounds while I've stayed the same. I'm seeing red right now and have no one to vent my anger because I don't want people I know to see her in a bad light. Am I an asshole or not? Please pass judgment on me.
All right, guys, it is on the Aeson Night YouTube. If you want to go vote over there, and I will pop the link in the chat because this is our main stream and everything else is simulcast. So please always make sure to click those links. But what's your opinion? Because this is one of your favorite foods that she apparently ate all of.
The macaroni and cheese. God help you. She ate all the macaroni and cheese. One, dude, you're the asshole. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know which argument you're trying to win, which is that she was selfish and ate all the food, that you apparently planned to, like, eat for the rest of the week, which I think is a little weird.
Well, I think
but hey, whatever.
Because I'm thinking, okay, 17 people. Like, I think he keeps thinking the food was the big amount of food at the beginning of the party.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, like, how much could have been left. Like, if everyone ate, and everyone took a plate, and everything left got packed up. I mean, you would have had to have made food for, like, 50 people if you thought you were going to eat for the rest of the week.
Well, not only that, but then, okay, this is now what? Wednesday he's starting this pitch fit?
Oh, yeah. Well, Thursday, somewhere in there. But so no, I mean, literally,
days.
follow me along. Okay, so 17 people ate, so they had at least one plate apiece. They took home a plate. That is now 34 people, I believe. Yeah, 34 people. And then you plan for 2 people to eat for 7 days on the remainder of the food.
Right.
So your aunt and the food that you bought would have had to have been enough to feed at least 50 people.
Okay, so he said he spent $200. Divide by 50. Well, there is no way he spent $4 a plate.
Well, now I'm going to assume that, like, the egg rolls, small pastries with meat or cheese, and some chips were the 200. Because he doesn't really specify, like, the way he says it, it sounds like the hors d'oeuvres alone were $200.
Okay.
And then whatever his aunt cooked.
Right.
And I'm going, no, it wasn't a potluck. It was, they literally bought all the food, and then he had his aunt cook food, like she catered the event.
Right.
So to speak. And I'm going, I can't, like, that would have been food for 50-some people.
Right.
That's a lot of food.
Right. Well, but no, I'm doing the mental math here. Because I know how much it takes right now for me to make your macaroni and cheese from scratch, which is what the auntie did.
Yeah.
That's $12.50 per 9x13.
Per 9x13, which is like roughly 8 servings.
Right.
Like, assuming everyone got a generous serving.
Right.
That's one 9x13 is 8 servings.
Yeah.
How many how much food did she make? I think he really overestimated.
Well, I know he's overestimating, but here's the other side of this math. He's pissed at his girlfriend for eating 12 meals of leftovers.
Supposedly. Well, actually, for the way he, 14 meals worth of leftovers.
Right. 14
in like
worth of
3 days.
We'll go 4. We'll give him the 4th day.
Yeah. I'm just sitting here going, like, dude, I'm just wondering how you got food Like, how big is your fridge?
Yeah.
For you to get enough food for, 14 servings of macaroni and cheese, hors d'oeuvres, which there were egg rolls, small pastries with meat and cheese and some chips, chicken wings, nuggets, and this macaroni and cheese all in your fridge.
Right.
Because that would have been like a 9 by 13 and a half of macaroni and cheese, at least.
Yeah, let's say there's 2 of those.
Yeah. So 2 9 by 13s. Chicken wings, like that's a shit ton
another
of chicken
9 by 13 with a stack on top.
Yeah, it's gonna be well stacked. And then all the nuggets, which okay, fine, whatever. Like that's potentially doable.
You filled my refrigerator right there. Like I can't even
and
get
then
down the milk.
The egg rolls, the small pastries with meat, and some chips.
Yeah.
I don't think you would have been able to fit anything else in.
No. Like you would have not had room for milk. You may have some room for no. Like I know what will fit in our refrigerator, and I hate our refrigerator because it's too big for us.
Yeah.
But dude, furthermore, 12 meals at home.
Yeah.
That you didn't eat. You had the chance to eat this food.
Yeah, well, that's part one, and then Brenda's jumped in right on part two at perfect timing. It really sounds like he's making an excuse to complain about her weight gain.
Exactly.
Like, literally, that's my bigger issue.
Right.
Like, I don't even think you should care. Like, okay, fine, you get annoyed that you didn't get your aunt's macaroni and cheese and wings or whatever. Okay, I can follow you there.
Right.
Like, your feelings are hurt and you're annoyed and whatever. I don't think you should vent your anger over that. Like, I get a little pissed when he eats my cheesecake, okay? Like, I have leftover cheesecake from a restaurant and I come home and I let it set for a couple of days and then I look forward to it and then I open the fridge and it hit the 3-day rule, so he ate it.
Yeah.
And yes, occasionally I do think about running him over with the car when he does that.
Mm-hmm.
But even still, I don't need to go vent my anger. I can just be like, you asshole, and move on with my life.
Right.
Now, on the flip side, you phrase this like a concern about her health on one level, but then you kind of make it all about the numbers. Then you kind of make it about just the fact that she gained weight while you haven't.
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh my God, she ate $200 worth of food is basically what you make it sound like.
Mm-hmm.
And eating all the food for a week. Dude, I don't think you have food for a week.
Right.
I think maybe working from home, she might have gotten a little heavy-handed.
Yeah.
I say that as someone who works from home and sometimes in high stress, like the amount of food I'll go through in a day is crazy.
Right.
But,
yep.
I really don't think you had as much food left over as you thought you had.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really don't. I think either that or your definition of a portion might be way different than what most people would consider.
Well, not only that, but I'm thinking leftovers. We all know this.
Yeah, at 185 pounds, she could totally lose like 200 pounds without a problem.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, he's 205. Yeah, she can lose 205 pounds without a problem.
Well, yes.
Yes. It's called real easy. It's called get the fuck rid of you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're the asshole, though. Either which way you go, you've made this about her weight, which I'm sorry, that just totally ruined any argument you had about her being a shitty spouse who ate all your food.
Well, and then this user used his real account, and I see him over here commenting about workout and muscle building and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you're a dick, and you're an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and moreover, I think there's some issues in your relationship.
Well, there's some issues, and she's going to
Massive
starting
ones.
up to him real fast. All
Yeah.
right, so our audience has judged you, mister.
Oh, I'm sure it was not happily.
Yeah, no, you are 100%
100%.
the asshole. Have a good day.
Thanks for playing. You're the asshole.
Exactly. Go to your auntie's an hour away. Please, there are people that drop that grocery store an hour away and beg her for the recipe. And if you're really nice to your girlfriend, she might even make it for you. It's fucking macaroni and cheese, you idiot.
Or your next girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
When you learn how to treat human beings.
Yes.
Maybe start with a plant.
Yeah.
Work your way up.
Right.
All right. So new to poly, is this triad dynamic healthy?
Mm-hmm.
Hey everyone, I'm pretty new to poly and have found myself in a triad dynamic with a married couple. They are also new to poly, but have a little more experience than I do. I'm looking for input on the situation, whether or not the dynamic seems to be off to a healthy start. In some ways, I think it's great. In other ways, I have some concerns, but I'm not sure if they're reasonable. So originally, I started dating just the husband. We had a date and it went well. We were talking a ton. I was also talking to the wife, but not romantically. After the date with the husband, he told me they had decided they no longer wanted to date separately, but they all wanted to hang out together. So after a bit, we all hung out together and we were intimate. It was great. The three of us started talking constantly, and it very quickly turned into me becoming their girlfriend. I quickly realized this all happened too fast, and they sort of came to the same conclusion. We decided together to do a friend with benefits situation between the three of us. Fast forward a bit, and the wife told me she thinks poly isn't for her, and she was experiencing some feelings of jealousy. I totally understood, and we decided to all just be friends. I was sad, but it was understandable, and I knew going into this that it was also new for them, so I knew this could happen. Then we all hang out again, and we ended up having sex again. Now she says she's going to give this another try and to just try to be open with both of us about any insecurities that come up. That's fine and understandable too. I've been having a hard time, though, with feeling like there's a power imbalance here. I do understand that they're married, and obviously their relationship is going to be a top priority. No, I'm sorry, you've already fucked up right there. Yes. Don't ever do that. You are not a third wheel just because you are the one of three people in any given relationship.
Right.
I don't expect to be of equal importance. Oh, worse, cringe. And I respect their marriage, and I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable, except you do. So I respect these feelings that have come up and stuff, and I want to be mindful of them, but I sort of feel like I'm just going along for the ride, and I could be thrown off at any time. And if it ends, they've still got each other, and I'm on my own. I'm feeling a lot of things, and I don't know if they're reasonable or if it's just me being insecure or a bit of both. I don't have a separate relationship with them, really. We talk in group chat, and they've made clear that they're open with each other about the private conversations we do have. I don't see them separately, which honestly makes sense because we have limited time together and there's some distance between us. And while I don't want anyone feeling left out, I sometimes get a little sad that they can talk to each other privately, but I don't get that luxury. Like when they decided we were just going to be friends, that was something they had talked about together and had been sitting on for a while before they brought it to me. I don't get to talk to one of them about feelings I'm having that may not be fully fleshed out, because then it will have to be a group discussion. There's been so much positive, open communication. I feel like any feelings I've voiced are heard and taken seriously. I think we all really do care about each other's feelings. I just don't know if the things I'm feeling are things I need to work through on my own. Yes! Or things I need to bring to their attention. Also, yes. I don't know how much of this is to be expected. And that's the end of that one.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Sorry, I just couldn't resist. Like, red flag on the play. Let's go back to the tape. Bullshit. Yeah. Red flag on the play.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use many sports analogies, but I know that one well, and that applies.
Yes.
Holy shit. Hi, take it away.
Girl, run very quickly. delete group messages, group talking. And I wanted you to talk this because you came in as the third.
I did. And I didn't.
Right.
Because there's the thing. If you're ever in a relationship where you feel like you've come in as the third, you've already fucked up.
Well, what I'm saying is
Mm-hmm.
you came in as the third person. You didn't come in as a third relation. Well,
Exactly.
but no.
And there may one day be a fourth and a fifth and a 25th and a 33rd and whatever.
I don't have that much
But
time.
if you don't feel like you are having an equal relationship there, if you don't feel like at least one of these
Mm-hmm.
is the two of you are in a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and that all you have is being a third wheel,
Right.
you done fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a workable situation. It will go down in flames.
Right.
Very, very, very few people
Right.
can survive that, because exactly what you're saying. You don't have privacy. You don't have private communication. You don't have the ability to express to one person what you're feeling. It's a group fucking consensus.
Right.
That's not going to work. That's not going to work.
No.
Your feelings, your relationship is not a committee event.
No.
Like, even because you are in two relationships, you cannot be one person in a relationship with two people.
See, I disagree with that. You're in 3 relationships.
At least. One of them may be a meta, but what I'm talking about is you cannot be one human being
Mm-hmm.
that is in a relationship with two people, a single relationship with two people. That doesn't work. That's not how this works.
Right.
You have at least 2 relationships that you are in. The one with spouse A, the one with spouse B.
And
they
the one
have a
with
relationship
spouse
across
A and B.
Well, there's the overall, like, however many people there are, this is the polycule relationship.
Right.
I will count that as a third relationship that you're in. But if you're not if you're trying to be one person in a relationship with a couple as a single unit,
Mm-hmm.
you done fucked up. Like, that does not work.
No, it doesn't. And communication is key in any relationship. Negotiation is key in any relationship. And it doesn't sound like any of her cards are being brought to the table.
Well, but yet she still feels listened to, and I get that, but I don't think you're realizing what you're giving up.
Yeah. You're not being listened to if they're jerking the relationship in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out.
Well, yeah, and then here's the fact. Like, on one hand, you're saying, "Oh, I'm being listened to and heard," but then you're also saying, like, I don't have the ability to talk to them about feelings that aren't fully fleshed out.
Right.
Okay, those two things are mutually exclusive. You cannot feel heard, and if you can't just have a conversation where it's like, I don't know where this is going, but, like, I just need to say it, and then you tell me where this is going, or we discuss it and figure out where it's going together.
Right.
If you can't do that because you can't, you don't want the committee to, like, approve it.
Yeah.
You've got a serious relationship problem.
Right.
Like, no. And then Brenda says, you wouldn't even do that in a friend group. Even among your friends, you have a relationship with each person. Yes. Why?
So, no,
why would
you? Dynamic is not healthy. This is known as unicorn hunting.
Yeah, basically what they're doing, and doing badly.
Right.
Like, because they don't really respect this relationship that they're trying to create together.
Right.
They're really just looking for a plaything between them.
Exactly. When it's in the wife's mood, which is even a bigger problem.
Yeah, because she seems very come here, go away, come here, go away.
Right.
And that's and she's not wrong. Some people that are just starting out do have an intensity of emotion, and they do have to, like, hit the brakes.
Right.
and be like, okay, I got to process this.
Right.
That's normal.
Yeah.
But then to like just keep bouncing you around, like, oh, you're friends, like, oh, we're dating you. Okay, you're friends with benefits. Okay, we want nothing to do with you because, you know, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but now we want you back, but we're dating you. Like,
no.
Come on, man. Like,
and this is what, you know, starting to piss me off in the group I'm in. Be fucking negotiable. Be very focusable. Be very genuine about what you want in your relationship.
And give people the right. Give people the right to talk to other people individually. Now, I will say it's a very good idea to have a rule that you don't gang up on each other. Like 2 against 1. Like, I'm sorry, you reserve that for, okay, someone's off their meds and about to jump off a bridge.
Right.
Okay, 2 against 1. Or like, you know, hi, you need to go to rehab.
Yeah.
Then 2 against 1. Otherwise, no. The best you do, like you do kind of end up needing a rule there where it's like, okay, this isn't about like creating a we hate partner B
mentality
group.
Right.
Conversation.
The other words that get me is priority. You know, I have the benefit of multiple relationships, and a lot of people always ask me who my primary is, and I'm like, for what?
Yeah, and that's mostly you playing with them. I mean, it's kind of true, but at the same time, it's kind of like playing with them.
Well, it is like, me playing with them, but at the same time, I don't have a prioritization of relationships. I have departments of relationships.
Like, who goes on outings? Hi. Who goes on air? Hi.
The Invisible has been on air for our Patreons. He has came in on Patreons, but he doesn't like doing that.
No, that's not his thing.
It's not his thing. Who goes to gaming conventions and Marvel movies and Comic-Cons? Not that
me.
One.
Not me. Like,
not his thing.
My like my nerd cred is shaky, okay? Like that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Like I am white nerdy. I'm just not quite white nerdy enough.
Right. Who plays Naruto with me? The Invisible.
Not me.
Yeah.
I'll Second Life it all night long, but Naruto, I'm just like, everything I know about Naruto is because of them two.
Yeah.
And it's limited. Like I know very little. Like, you know, I knew enough to buy, like, to point out a shirt.
That with me is when they start bringing a decision to me, and I'm like, I don't know, it's not my department. What do you mean it's not your department? Example: we have a breakdown of departments in this house. One of them is house things. Go see Invisible.
Yeah. Like, I'm not...
You know.
I've retired from home management.
Yeah.
Like, I can do it. I just, no.
Financial decisions, you have to go see me. Techie things, you have to go see Joe. Pet things, that's a house department item. Go see Invisible.
Yep. Booking appointments, parties, and events, we can help you with. Or I can help you with.
You can help them with it. But that's how we've broken up our household when we have one party in multiple relationships living in a house. And all of us are quite capable of managing the whole world, our whole dimensionary world, with the other. And that's what, and since we're all three very much leaders and we're very much the, you know, I've got an Aquarius and a Cancer boyfriend. So, you know, everyone has their thing and we don't step on toes.
Not typically, no.
No.
Like, it can be a little grumpy if like, home management is sometimes a grumpy area, but
yeah.
Like,
Well, it's because it's a multi-level department because it affects financial, so that brings me into it. It affects you because it's tech, and it affects him because it's like, no, I don't want a fucking robot.
Yeah, really. Like, don't replace me with a robot.
Yeah, I don't want a robot vacuum. The dog will eat it, and the cat will use it for transport.
Yes. And it's like, okay, fine, whatevs.
Yeah.
But like that's a thing that could occur.
Yeah.
So Shannon says if you wouldn't want to let your friends be treated like that in a monogamous relationship, why would you put up with it in a poly?
Exactly.
Yeah, and sometimes that's like the
Duh.
here's your V8 moment that people need.
Right.
To be like, hi, if you were dating just one of them and
Right.
they pulled what's going on,
you would run them over.
Yeah, like if you would sit there and be like, shitty boyfriend, shitty girlfriend, like no, you're paying a little too much deference to the fact that they were together firsties.
Right.
And it's kind of like, I don't know. I do have like, it's sort of like that, like, like the first wife dies moment. Like or the first spouse dies. You have respect for them, but if like you find yourself in a situation where you feel like your spouse, the one you marry, is respecting their deceased spouse to the point that it interferes with your ability to have a relationship with them, you would have a problem. What is the difference if they have a pulse? If they over-prioritize the deceased spouse or the firstie spouse to the point it interferes with your ability to have a relationship with them, you got a problem.
And I think Shannon is talking to the invisible assistant, channeling him one.
Oh, the cat will ride that bitch like a steed into battle. What are you talking about? Yes.
That was his response when I said, I want a robo. I want the robo vacuum for the house. I want the robo mop for the house, so we don't have to deal with it. His comment was, fuck no.
No.
One, I like Chris Sharp. And
totally.
Two, no. Anna will ride that into me.
Yeah, I was sitting here going, I don't know this is the good plan. Yeah, but Shannon also points out, so would my cat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we have not been getting some comments. I just realized this, and I need to start being on both of the YouTube streams, because this is now twice I've had to approve Shannon's comments.
Oh, no.
Guys, we are so sorry. Someone should have told us.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Shannon had a few different comments. So what Shannon also said was, I didn't get any of the mac and cheese as something to whine and vent about, but the rest he's being extra. Yes. Also says, the only time my husband complained about my weight was when he was bigger than me and we were eating the same thing. I just don't drink.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. You don't get to really complain about your spouse's weight gain. Like, I take issue with that specifically. Right. And what I mean by that, I think you can have legitimate concern, not about the numbers, but about, like, are you okay?
Right.
Like, is your health okay?
Right.
Are you experiencing depression, anxiety? Like, are you stressed the fuck out? Like, there's been a change. Love you as you are, whatever that may be. But, like, this seems rapid. This seems sudden. This seems like, like there's more to it.
Well, you moved in here and you lost a lot of weight.
Yes.
And I went like, okay, what's wrong?
Yeah. And I've had to explain that one my whole life is like, no, my weight goes all over the map. Like, good effing luck. If you can tell me what my weight problem is, I would love to know. I yo-yo.
Yeah, but
I
the
would
other
be
part
big
of
for a
that
few
was you made
years.
a comment, that's because I'm happy. And I went, oh, fuck.
Yeah, that happens too. Like low stress, in a good mood, like feeling really good. Typically, I'll drop.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about the relationship. It's not about the household. It's not about the.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just across the board, my life seems really good, and I get in a really good mood and whatever, and my weight will go down.
Right.
And then like stress from any direction, lots of things going on, deaths in the family, all of this, like life, and my weight will go up.
Okay, guys, I do want to I don't normally do this when we redo the commercial because we are going to be adding new commercials. Remember to make us a YouTube commercial.
A YouTube commercial?
Yeah, remember to remember to hit that like button.
Sure.
Remember to do all that fun stuff. Shannon's goes down in winter because I'm eating the same amount, but it's cold, so my body burns more calories to stay warm. Then the summer comes along and I hiss the sun.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
all right, guys.
no.
So some really cool things and some announcements. One, if you see Aeson disappear from social media, but you're still seeing business posts, it's because I'm on jury duty. That also means that we will not be covering any local news if I'm on jury duty.
No, won't be. And when he says you will see things posted, but he won't be online, what that basically means is for his business, there will be automatically scheduled postings that are related to the business.
Yes.
But then there won't he won't be online.
Right.
Like he won't be there, he won't be actively posting himself as himself.
Right.
It would just be the automatic business postings of his schedule, his availability, positive feedback he's received, like
that type of thing.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. So if you send me instant messages and you don't get a reply, the reason is I've gone into jury duty and they're not going to let me on there.
Joe, provide lots of coffee and check the rum supply. Damn Skippy.
Yep.
No, not being sequestered that we know of.
Yeah.
Like this is all new. There's no like attachment to a trial yet, I think.
Right.
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility. And that's when you will notice that we will not be talking about anything in West Virginia.
Nope.
I won't be I can't do that. Because I'm taking this very seriously. So there's that. The other part of this will be for our Patreons. You sometimes message me and I love it. I don't want you to think I'm ignoring you. Nope. I'm just not there.
Yep. So you can always message me. Which I know some of you have already figured out to do that. Like if he gets busy or you're not getting a response within a day or so, please just message me.
Right.
I'll do what I can. I'll say what I can. If I can say anything other than like jury duty.
Right.
Like jury duty.
Right. The other thing is I am doing a 50% off special this month. Yes. The code word is gratitude.
Woot.
Yep.
I'll just message Joe like, ask Aeson. Insert book recommendation for kiddo here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I asked for it, Brenda. I asked for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, I did.
Right.
And then once this is over, I'll be like, all y'all animals go talk to him. I'm done.
Yeah, the other part of that is if I do get sequestered, we will have to cancel shows.
We will.
So, however long that takes.
Either that or I can go on air by myself and we'll just, Brenda and Shannon and I will just talk and talk.
That's fine. Just make the commercial breaks.
Just make the commercial breaks.
Yep.
I know, right?
Alrighty, so there's those things. I do want to ask that you do the YouTube-y things. If you're on Facebook, there's some new Facebook-y things. Like apparently you guys can send us hearts and stars and all this crap. You may be seeing new things from YouTube. Please interact with the page. This is what keeps us moving and making us all happy.
Ooh, Shannon will co-host. Ooh, this could be fun.
Yep. And it's not ugly, Shannon. You're very, very beautiful. So knock that shit off. I ain't having that here. But just
what is that? There's twice.
Granted, I just had my orientation today. I still have to review the handbook and all that fun stuff. But if you notice our coverage, especially for mountain bearish changes, it's because of
Can't
what's
do it.
going on. Can't do it.
Can't do it. And that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll get back to the more normal like stuff when we can.
Right.
So that'll be cool and it'll be awesome. And like we'll cover national news stuff that isn't related to West Virginia and isn't related to things going on in West Virginia, and that'll be awesome.
Right. Also, I just want to make kind of a statement here. This is very important. This is one of our constitutional rights, and we need to start fucking enforcing it, not getting out of it.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I think there are legitimate reasons to be like, I can't do jury duty. I've twice had to do that. Both like month to month, like 2 months in a row, they selected me in Mercer County to be a juror. They also sent the paperwork to my grandmother, which was hysterical.
Right.
Because she'd love it. She would be thrilled.
Right.
She has dementia.
Yep.
So I would hate to have someone's life hanging in the balance while dealing with a woman that clearly has dementia. Like she doesn't know who the president is. She can barely figure out what day it is.
Right.
And that takes effort.
Yep. And a reminder that that on next Tuesday is election day.
It is. Next Tuesday is election day. Do not forget to vote. Please make sure you have your ID ready.
Yes.
In case you need it.
And don't. Yeah. So my statement is always put your heels on, grab your purse, and go use your rights.
Yes.
There are
Check your voter registration.
This is a very important election for multiple reasons. No, it is not a presidential election. Yes, we need to take control of the House and Senate so that we can secure LGBT rights and the woman's right to her freaking body.
Who thought 2022 would bring us this shit?
Here you go.
Set your clock back an hour on Sunday. Try not to set the country back 50 years on Tuesday.
Yes. There's also some very important amendments in West Virginia that you need to be voting no on.
All of them? No. Yeah, the constitutional amendments, there are 4 of them. At least 2 to 3 of them seem to be unpopular, even with Republicans.
Yes.
There's only one they really give a shit about. Like, as in, I'm talking about the majority of Republicans. There's only one they give a shit about getting through, and even that one they seem a little wishy-washy on. And that's the one that basically gives you no car tax.
Right.
Blah,
and no,
blah,
that's
blah.
not a good one either, because that one would be a great law on itself. That's the one that also takes and moves all your property taxes down to Charleston.
Yeah, we let the legislature in Charleston figure out the allocation of our property taxes back to the counties. Like basically the counties collect the money, they forward it all to the to Charleston. Charleston legislature decides what the fuck to do with the money and then pass it back out to the counties as they see fit.
Right. And the other part of that is
thinks that's a good idea.
Well, not only that, but then businesses, then businesses can declare their property businesses and they don't pay taxes on it any longer.
Yeah.
So Mingo County, all that mine land down there that's been trying to just supplement how much you've been raped for. Not only are you having to mail it to Charleston and hoping to get pennies on your dollar back, But you're not going to, the miners, mining companies don't have to pay taxes, which gives Jim Justice a free tax write-off for his stuff.
Yeah. So if you wanted an analogy, this would be like being a 15-year-old who gets a job. You make your money. You go home. Your dad makes you sign the check over to him. And then he decides how much of an allowance you get based on your paycheck and the total family income. Now, that might work out great if you have a really fair parent. Does anyone think that anyone in the Charleston legislature would make a fair parent, and I'm putting this in air quotes, a fair parent in this situation? I don't want to chance it.
Right.
That's where I'm at. That's my personal decision. That is my personal thing.
Well, this
sounds
my
stupid.
status on the, anything going on in our Congress, state Congress. If they cannot decide where your teenagers should go to the bathroom at for 2 years, I don't think they can decide anything else.
Yeah, I don't think they need to be balancing the state's books off of property taxes and doing whatever they want to.
Well, they can't balance books anyhow. That's why we have such a huge rainy day fund, but our roads look like they've been Swiss cheese to death.
Well, yeah, basically we put a lot of money into the rainy day fund, and then I don't know what the hell the definition of rainy day is, but we've had a few.
Yes.
That needed money thrown at.
Yeah.
And we didn't do that.
Right.
So, I do want to bring up Brenda's comment. It's bad when even Big Jim says it's good for me, but not for you all. Yes. That, I believe, is Amendment 3.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of small business owners and very rich people in West Virginia who think this is a phenomenal idea.
Yeah.
The little rider for the little people, for us, is that you don't have to pay property tax on your car. It is just a way to get votes, because who the fuck wants to pay property taxes on their car if they can get away with not doing that? Please vote no. I know it's not in your best interest in terms of that property tax cut, in terms of having to pay for your vehicles. It is worth it.
Yeah.
It is worth it. It is worth it. It is worth it. It is worth it. So yeah, I really hope you will do better.
Yep. And it's only if the car is less than a certain age.
Yeah.
That they decide.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
Does any of this sound like cash for clunkers to anyone else?
Yep.
Like, talk about the biggest giveaway to high income earners.
Mm-hmm.
Cash for clunkers was bullshit. Do you know how many rich people bought shitty cars,
right,
just to take them and have them, their engines blocked with concrete, to get the rebate incentive to go buy an electric car or a hybrid vehicle, because they were the only ones that could afford it.
Right.
And it made perfect sense. Like, if I had an extra blah, 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 I would do that too.
Yeah.
But what it also did was mean that a large stock of already manufactured used vehicles that would have stayed on the road for a number of years, that would not have required the energy and resources, to make again, were taken off the road and out of the market, out of the used market, and people were forced into newer vehicles and a much smaller available car pool.
Right. And here's the hard facts about it. We probably would not have had the car shortage that we had if cash for clunkers didn't exist.
Possibly, because it has forced used car to be much newer. I think that's starting to peter out of the market. But still, it's had a lasting effect.
Yeah, because used car value went up.
Yeah, used car value went up. So people who were buying used cars were paying more because there were fewer used cars available, so the car had more value.
Right.
But then it also limited the available pool of used vehicles.
Right.
And so in turn, it pushed a lot of consumers into buying new vehicles.
Right.
That may have
higher
bought
interest rates, because if you're buying used, you're going to get you were looking for a lower interest rate.
Oh yeah, and then with this, we also face the lack of newer cars because of chip shortages and factory shutdown caused the inflation on used cars to go up too. So, like, these are all the butterfly effects,
right?
That slowly pushed this where it got to.
Right. The other butterfly effect that people do not think of this about is right now they have proven that the inflation rate is at the place it is because of corporate profit. It's up 52%. It is not a lack in anything.
It wasn't because we started paying people who flip hamburgers $15 goddamn an hour. Like we swore up and down for years. Republicans, conservatives swore up and down for years. We can't pay people $15 an hour to work at a fast food restaurant. A hamburger will cost $32.
All right.
Okay. One, that didn't happen. And two, yes, prices have gone up, but when you look at where the money went, all went to supporting the idea of like what conservatives said, but in turn actually went into the pockets of business owners, not in paying increased expenses.
Right.
And that's on top of a pandemic.
Yeah.
And supply chain shortages and higher prices for this and that and everything else. So not only did we cover paying fast food workers more,
right,
we also covered increased costs to buy the hamburgers, the buns, the whatever raw materials you need to make that. And we still managed to put most of the increased prices directly into the pockets of business owners.
Right. Now, for 2021, corporate profit is up 22.6%. That's 2021. They're now saying that corporate profit is at a plus 53%.
Yeah, 53% over.
Right.
As in, this is just profit numbers. This isn't cost. This isn't before cost. This is after all the bills are paid.
Right.
Rich bastards made 52% more because of our fear that paying workers more would drive up costs. An argument they sowed and reaped and have reaped they have reaped so much money off of. This is the bullshit.
Yep.
And it is bullshit.
Yeah. Yep. Right here's where it's at. What was it? CEOs in Europe make more than 40 times the entire level
entry level workers do.
Yeah.
US is closer to 700 times what an entry level worker makes.
Yeah.
Tell me what an American CEO does that makes them 660% or 660 times, excuse me, more valuable than an entry level worker between the US and the UK. Tell me. I want to know what does Mark Zuckerberg have?
Well, not only that, but tell me, because the American corporate world has shifted to it's no longer entry-level employees, it's entry-level independent contractors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that you can get out of paying benefits. Point blank.
Yeah. Independent contractor is the new salary exempt.
Exactly.
And again, an end run around paying workers fair wages.
Right.
Like, why is this hard?
Yeah.
Like, I have appreciation. Like, I know they get ragged on a lot. Younger millennials and Gen Z. I think they finally got the right idea. They have a fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
Like, they've watched too much of this. They've seen too much of this. This is a fearless group of kids.
Yeah. that will
Like, and I'm
start
calling
their own
kids
business in
because
5 minutes.
yeah, and are like, fuck it, they can't fire all of us,
Exactly.
or they can, and good fucking luck.
And we can just network around them.
Yep.
All right, guys. So tune in next Tuesday. I do have a guest for the first portion of the show. We will be interviewing them, and then we will be taking your questions and telling the "Am I an asshole?" in the second part. So then, have a wonderful evening. Remember, I am taking appointments all weekend. You can go ahead and book them at the ease of your desk. And I do want Jared to take a moment and thank our Patreons. They are amazing. They make us work for our dollar, and we very much respect and love them.
So we do want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda Bryant, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Dottie the Psychic, Tracy Van, Donna White, Caitlin Bell, and the Laughing Tree Grove. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com.
All right, guys, you have a magical evening. We'll see you later.
Good night.